Hello everyone. People should be joining fairly soon. We're going to get started soon. Yes, green screen is on. Let's see here. Make sure everything's set up here. There's so many different things I have to worry about. There we go. Gonna get started soon. Just gonna wait for some people to get here. We're a minute in. And I'm just gonna be doing a review of this week's questions, along with some of the answers that I picked out, and just give you my thoughts. And then I want you to submit, if you want to, your portfolio URL in the comments here. And at the end, I'm going to do a review, a portfolio review, just give my quick thoughts, you know, on the work that I see. So if you want to submit a URL for your portfolio, whether it be a Dribbble or Behance or your personal site, go ahead and do that. So hopefully, you know, I'll be able to get to everybody's. Gonna get started soon. I would say within a few minutes. Yeah, just put the link right here, Anzi. Yeah, just. I'm hoping though that I'm not sure if there's like a, you know, it cuts off the messages at a certain point. So, you know, maybe I'll just ask at the very end for the URLs. Oh, you can't put the URLs here. All right. I'm gonna have to think differently then. How else could you guys communicate to me the URLs? Email kind of sucks. Maybe if you want, just for now, we'll say, send me an email at contact@coursetra.com and I'll check it. Hey everybody, I see you're starting to pile in. I'll just say, I'm not sure how I would use Google Docs in order to get that set up. I never set something like that up before. I've used Google Docs in the past. Let me try to set that up real quick, and I'll just put the link in here. You just probably have to make it so that it's the settings are set up correctly. I'm gonna get started soon, don't worry. I'm just trying to set this up because I realize people cannot put links in the URL of the comments. I think I set it up. 1 second. All right. Okay, I'm gonna share this real quickly for this portfolio URL, and it's just a Google Docs document. And let's see. Now I just put it in the what do you call it, the YouTube comment URL. I'm not sure if it's gonna save that, but check the description of the YouTube comments. This is the URL. Otherwise, I'm going to post it right there. There's the URL for you to submit your document. So let me know if that works. 94 people watching right now. All right, so we're going to get started first with the three. There was 3 questions this week that I did, and I picked out some answers that I received. Oh, of course. Let's see here. 1 second. Anyone can edit. Done. All right, try it now. I just changed the setting. Oh, the forms. Damn it, Google Forms. I just put a freaking document in there. Yeah, every time I try to change the setting to anyone can edit it and hit done. Oh, link sharing updated. Try it now. Yeah, I should have used forms. I made the assumption that anybody can just put a link in the YouTube comments. We're going to get started though. There we go. All right, just don't delete other people's stuff, please. All right, so we're gonna get started here. I'm gonna switch the screen off, and I'll check the comments and all that stuff after I do this little Q&A reveal thing. All right, so let me switch everything over properly using my app here. So bear with me for a second. I'm gonna do. All right, and then also I'll put this thing up there too. All right, cool. All right, guys, so the very first question that I received was, that's not really a broken file, great. We'll deal with this at the end then. The very first question that I received, or that I posed basically, was what was your worst client nightmare? And this was on Monday's video, so if you want to go back and look at all the actual responses that I received, you can go ahead and check that video out on the YouTube channel. But I just picked out a few of the comments there that I thought were worth reading, and also providing just some of my thoughts, basically. So, of course, I'm going to answer these questions myself for the very first point. So, this was my worst client nightmare. So I used to design a lot of logos back in the day, and man, close to 2,000 logos I designed. I'm not kidding you. I ranked real high in Google for keywords like how to design logos and all that stuff, and this is back years ago. So I think I charged like $150 for like a single concept, and I just worked with people, and it was what I did for the most part for quite a while. And so, of course, I have really bad nightmares. I mean, if you're working with that many clients, you're going to have horrendous experiences. But I do remember this one time, if I can get out the actual full URL, because I kind of gave a long-winded response. Maybe I won't go down that road, but as I remember it, because this was quite a while ago, it started out as a situation where they asked for a symbol with some specific character in it. I think it was skiing down a slope or something. I'm like, okay, we can make this work, make it abstract, just simple, because it was a pretty basic request at that point. Then I submitted what I thought was great, and they came back with a revision request, and they wanted me to add some pine trees, I believe. Which, okay, at that point, whatever, no big deal. This isn't completely out of the ordinary from a typical experience when it comes to design clients. And then I did the revision, I sent it in, and then they asked for more objects to be placed in the scene. And we went back and forth with, I think between 2 to 3 more times, where it became this massive collage. And at this, some clients you can't work with, and you try to educate them on, what is an effective logo design. Doesn't matter. at a certain point, it was wasting so much of my time. I just gave them a full refund. That is my nightmare. It was I do have recurring nightmares of that particular situation. Up here, it's from Bruno Marquez. My worst client nightmare was development of a site that never ended until it ended it myself and call it done. The client was always asking for more and more, and not that color and not that type of text. They want animations like the 90s Flash websites. A real nightmare. Never again. From that day on, all the projects I've made has to have a detailed document and milestones and requirements. That's extremely important. And of course, that's a lesson that's, you know, some people have to learn the hard way. Always, no matter what, especially if you're doing, you know, per project pricing, make sure you have detailed exactly what they will receive for this exact price. And that way, if it starts going beyond that, you can tell them if you need some more stuff added, we will handle that separately as a new price or a new amount that you have to pay. So that's why I included this comment. Going forward, client, what client? Question answered. Yep, very good. I knew there's a lot of people aspiring designers who don't actually have clients yet, but don't worry. It would become a nightmare though if let me scale this down just a little bit because that thing's getting in the way. The data is important. So this is back in 2001 when we didn't have ubiquitous broadband. Hell, even the broadband that we had was slow back then. I remember that because when broadband first came to my area, I think I was in 8th or 9th grade, and I'm 35 years old. So I had a very, it was something I was looking for because we had dial-up back then. It was extremely slow. But the broadband still was a lot faster, but it was like 1 megabyte, I think. That's all it was. But this was a good time to be a web designer. Many companies were starting to take their web presence seriously for the first time. I wanted something nice, and then I got a client insist on a watermark background of a map. My boss didn't understand how this could be a problem. Just stick the image in the background. I had spent 3 hours explaining to my boss and the client why sticking a 2 megabyte JPG or JPEG file in the background was a bad idea in 2001. It's still a bad idea right now in 2018. When most people were on dial-up, even DSL at the time would have choked on that. And I do remember DSL was like kind of like a middle ground between cable and dial-up. DSL was still using phone lines, but it was still quite a bit faster. I forget what the speed was. So this was an insane request, and no amount of logical argument would convince them otherwise, and it just kept dragging on for hours. I quit designing professionally immediately after that, and I don't want to ever experience that again. That's really funny. Yeah, so obviously, when it comes to images and file sizes, you have to, even today, you don't want a 2 megabyte JPG. Depending on the complexity of the JPEG and the amount of colors on it, I wonder if it could have been reduced so it wasn't quite 2 megs. Anyhow, but then of course, if you go that route, it would become quite pixelated. Let me expand this, go to the next one. All right, so that was the questions. That's all I picked out for the first question. And the second question in this video was from 2 days ago, I think. How much experience do you have with After Effects? Now this one, kind of more of a simple, direct, straightforward question. For me personally, I've used After Effects, I would say, I want to say maybe as early as 2003 or 2004 or something like that. And I remember watching Andrew Kramer's videocopilot.net when I first started getting into it, which was a huge resource, and he's really famous now. And I used it, I was doing promo videos, like animated type of promo videos back then for a short time. But I am not a pro, definitely not a pro with After Effects, but I'm not a beginner as well. But I do want to start getting into a little bit more of After Effects as it pertains to creating perhaps SVGs like in the previous video tutorial, and stuff for the web and UI design. So I went through all the comments, and I took just a general tally of, you know, what people's responses to this question was, and 90% of the audience who bothered to respond, and there was like 70 comments, I think, no experience at all, which is understandable because this is a channel about UI design and full stack dev. So After Effects really doesn't play into it too much. Although I think, you know, as the web starts to progress and mature, you're going to see more of After Effects and these types of motion applications having relevancy in this space. And then I decided to include this one from Asif, I don't know, how I can use this in WordPress. I use page builders to build WordPress websites. So, you know, I haven't used WordPress myself probably in like 5, 6, 7 years. But I remember still, when it comes to themes, you can still go into the back end, find out where the HTML is associated with that template, along with any of the assets. Really, you have to determine based on the theme that you're using where all these files go. But you could still use this this process of you know, going from After Effects to SVG, as in that tutorial that I did a few days ago. So you should still be able to do it. You just have to figure out where you put those assets at in the code, and to get the JavaScript added correctly. And then I decided to add this one at the very last one. 0 After Effects as his answer. Please stick to web. And then somebody said, this is web. Didn't you see it on the browser? Well, and then they said, I know, but his question is about his plans to start doing After Effects tutorials. I suggest he stick to web. That is what I meant. So I am going to start doing After Effects tutorials, not all the time, and it's only going to be in relation to the web. So for instance, when I did the After Effects tutorial a day or two ago, it was only because I was using it to export JSON, you know, an SVG graphic for use on a web. So I'm not going to just start doing AE toots randomly for just, you know, doing sparkling blurry effects for the hell of it. Let's go to the next question. So this question, self-taught or school for design and code? So this is a really good question. I'm glad I came up with it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, what should I ask if I'm going to start doing this all the time? But yeah, self-taught or school for design or code. You know, have you, if you're old enough, did you decide to do that or not? Or if you're younger, do you want to do that? So here's some of our questions, and I'll answer it first. So I personally started learning design and code, and really I got into Visual Basic, otherwise known as VB, and it was from Microsoft, and it was an application to create desktop software back in when I was in middle school, and I'm almost 35 now. And I did that because back then AOL was huge. America Online, that's pretty much what almost everybody had. That's what they used to access the internet. There was very few third-party ISPs or internet service providers back then. And this is all dial-up, of course. And there was a whole scene on AOL when it came to their public and private rooms. There was private chat rooms where people would download and exchange these progs, as they called them, or progies, and these progs that were made by, you know, teenagers to do all sorts of different things and interact with the AOL user interface. A lot of them were punters. It would freeze people's computers and knock them offline. It was a silly thing. There was chat room scrollers. There was spammers. Spam has very early roots. People would join affiliate programs back then. A lot of them were adult oriented, and then they would have these screen name harvesters that would go through all the chat rooms in AOL and collect thousands because a person's username on AOL was also their email address. It was whatever their username is at AOL.com. They made it very easy to just spam people. And I remember people making progs for that and making millions of dollars. Some people had 30 PCs sitting in their house, like laptops, all set up, and they were all just spamming just hundreds of thousands of emails, making money that way. It was insane. But I learned I wanted to make these own progs like punters and stuff, so I started learning code back then. Then I got into design shortly after that with Photoshop, and you know, this is back in the late 90s. Now I'm 35, and I knew once I got to high school, like a 10th, 11th grade, I knew I wasn't going to be going to school for this because I was really deep into it myself, and there was already learning resources back then. Not as many as there are today, but there was enough to where you could definitely teach yourself if you're self-motivated. So I did not go to any type of technical school or college And a lot of my friends did. They went for computer science degrees because they were all interested in the same thing, but they had parents that really pushed them to go to college, because back then, even more so than now, the general consensus is that you must go to college if you want to be successful. And so what was interesting is, some of these friends, they came back after the 4-year degree, and some of them had they had a large bill every month that they had to pay. And what's interesting about that is they would, because during that time, in that 4-year period, they would be hitting me up on AOL Instant Messenger. I think that's mainly what I use. There's also ICQ back there. They would hit me up and they would ask me questions as it pertained to whether it was coding or design, because I was actually getting my feet wet with real world experience and actual projects, but they were just following curriculums for the most part and partying. It sucks. I wanted to party too, and I didn't get that experience. That's the only regret I have about not going to college, although I made up for it shortly after. And so what's interesting, the takeaway is, even back then, the quality of the course material back in those colleges, and these are good colleges, some of them went to, was crap. They didn't really learn. They didn't really learn very much the practical skills, and so I'm glad I didn't go. My wife, she went for a 4-year degree to become a registered nurse. She's 30 now, but I think we have 2 more payments of $305 a month or something, and then she'll be out of that debt. Now, of course, if you're going to be a nurse or something, you have to go to school, but nonetheless, it's nice not to have, it would really have sucked to have another, maybe $300 or $400 or $500 or $600 monthly payment when you could just learn this stuff on your own. So if you can, be a self-learner. It's because especially it's only going to increase in popularity, especially with the rising cost of colleges. All right, so Carlos says, I'm self-taught. By the way, I think colleges are too stuck in the past, at least here in my country, Venezuela, and I like to learn on my own way. So that's awesome. And so, colleges are too stuck in the past, especially in Venezuela. I don't think Venezuela is considered to be kind of like a first world country. I know there's a lot of, I believe, if I'm thinking of the right country, there's a lot of issues there. Currently, economically. And so here's the thing though, colleges aren't just too stuck in the past just in Venezuela. It's pretty much all over the place. Of course there's exceptions, but I think the general rule is a lot of them are stuck in the past. And I think for a large degree, that's because a lot of the people and the professors who create the curriculum that are involved in this space, whether it be through design and coding, don't have enough real-world experience. They're kind of just there in the academic area, and that's where the curriculums will be lacking, because they're not teaching you real-world stuff. All right, self-taught with a Google and YouTube degree. And I included this just because that's pretty much the 2 primary sources a lot of people will go to learn, and it's a great way to start. Of course, there's other, there's udemy.com, there's Pluralsight, there's LinkedIn Learning, who just bought lynda.com recently. So there's a lot of other resources, but of course that is going to be increasingly so the replacement of standard college and the traditional means of learning this stuff. Next one's from Paul, self-taught mainly because here in Romania, when I was young, they would ask to know too much mathematics to get in high schools with computer science profile, and the same for colleges and universities. That's another thing. The amount of crap that you have to do to get into a college outside of the monetary aspect, along with all of the prerequisites that you need and all the stuff that you have to focus on. And this isn't just confined to computer science or design and code. I mean, this is pretty much almost every single major. They're having you focus on the most a large portion of your time, especially in the beginning, is focusing on stuff that has no relevancy whatsoever to what your true passion is. And it's also the same thing, at least here in the United States, when it comes to public education, K through 12. How many people do you ask, and especially yourself, if you've already graduated, and you're in your 20s and your 30s, how much of the stuff that you were forced to remember and to try to learn do you actually use in the real world? Very little. It's like only about maybe 5%. Learn how to read, learn how to write, basic mathematics. Okay, now you can start focusing on what your passions are. By the way, I homeschool my kids. My wife and I homeschool our kids. So you can see I have a distaste for public education in general. And that would go the same probably to a lot of private schools, but my experience is with public education. I go to college, but they teach trash. My teacher doesn't even know how to close an HTML tag, so I'm self-taught, I guess. There I go. Perfectly describes what I'm talking about. All right, so that is the end of the question and review portion of this video. I wanted to do a live portfolio review, but I'm having issues. I didn't prepare accordingly. I thought people could just put their damn links here in the comments, but Google is not allowing them to do that at all, I think. There is actually a settings right over here. Enable slow mode. Automatically block spam messages. I just turned that off. Someone put in a URL real quick and see if it works in the comments for me. Is it working? I'm just waiting here. I can put a URL because I'm the admin, so it won't work for me. What a piece of crap. What is slow mode? Okay. All right, I'm gonna check my email. I hope it doesn't load on this screen, so you get access to my damn email. Okay, good. It's showing on the other one. If you want, send an email to contact@coursetro.com. And I will review them there. For the next video, next week's, if I do this again on Friday, I will go ahead and I'll go ahead and set up a better way for you guys to communicate the address, because this Google Docs thing is just oh, okay, good. It is working then. Oh yeah, that's more than enough. I'm probably not going to be able to do all of these, so I'm just going to take them in the order that I received them. So let's see here. And I'm going to copy everything real quick, just in case somebody decides, you know, to delete them all. So, all right. So I would, at this point, you can add them more if you want, but I wouldn't. I may not get to all of them just because there's a lot here. All right. So I'm going to take the first one, and let's see here. All right. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name because I'm gonna mess it up. So just don't you know, don't take offense. All right, so this first one, my very initial reaction, like within a second of it loading, was okay. Good use of white space. This is interesting. I'm noticing this background's changing color. But the main issue I see right here is when it says this, this kind of like this tagline or this heading is a web developer and information engineering undergrad. Being so close to this relatively small, quite small, if we're looking at the full scope of the design, the navigation, too small for sure, definitely too small. You want to move things out, and you also want to try to give yourself more padding and margin around this navigation right here. So definitely look at remedying that, maybe putting this to the top, spanning 100% across the top of the browser. And also this right here, you know, this is good size type. This should be larger though too. This is kind of important. You know, what is this about? No one really cares about your name. They want to know what you're doing, and this is an afterthought. So try to think of, you know, do a Google search if you're watching this, which I hope you are, on visual hierarchy, and you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about from more of a theoretical and design fundamentals perspective. Now, because I have 10 of these, I'm not gonna probably go through this too much. It doesn't even seem like you would probably have too much work anyhow. Yeah, it seems like you're new probably. All right, so thanks for submitting that. Those are my suggestions. Next individual. By the way, let me get my dashboard over here so I could see some of these. Okay. All right, so Anzi, yes, this is a person who was helping me with my my screwed up setup and trying to communicate the URLs. Okay, so for some reason I saw Anzi. I just thought Anzi was a dude. Anzi's not a dude. Cool. All right, so I'm just gonna take a look at this first one. A challenge for the German Adobe live streams. I assume you probably found that from the live stream. I gave them a little bit of publicity. I was supposed to actually be on there as one of their live stream guests, but it got all screwed up. I may do one in August here though. Okay, so the onboarding screens. Okay, for the apps builds and the streams. I'm just gonna look. Okay, so it's just these 4 screens. All right, there's nothing that really sticks out too much as being negative. The shapes are a little bit abstract, but in terms of design fundamentals, I'm not sure if I really like the slider there because it seems like it's also a square plus circle. I'm not sure what's happening here. Hold on. But no, nothing terribly wrong as I see it in this one. I'll check out another one. Self-branding. Okay. Now this is what I like. Fun stuff like self-branding and identity design. All right, so it's your name here. A lot of stuff happening up here. Trying to figure that out. Okay, so what I see here, I'm starting to see, it looks like a big old mess initially, but at least I can start seeing the A, the Y, there's a N. Oh, we got a, let's check this out. Cool. That is, I don't know. I would try to potentially maybe simplify that a little bit more because there's a ton of lines and a ton of intersections occurring. I would try to simplify it, but still, you could still make this concept work, I would think. I'll do one more. Oh, we have Cinema 4D. I can't comment on that. I'm not a 3D guy. I've done some Blender in the past, but not much. Let's do the music app here. This is also for the live stream or the Adobe XD Creative Challenge, and they have those every month, I think. All right, so I like this, definitely. It's a very good, solid, simple illustration that you have. Okay, so now we're starting to get into an actual UI here. Looking at this. Good presentation here. I'm liking some of these a lot more than others. I really like this one down here. This is, I don't see anything wrong with this, very solid. The other ones though, if I look back up here, not so much a fan of this variation you have. It lacks color, especially this one over here. It seems like things are really smashed together. I would separate these categories a little bit more white space in between them. But yeah, overall pretty solid, I would say, in terms of what I'm seeing here from the portfolio. Just the identity, I would probably try to simplify that a little bit more. All right, we're gonna check out the next one. Oops. It's in there deleting people's URLs by accident. All right. Okay, so we got these things. Interesting story. I've been noticing. So I can't say I'm big into the cryptocurrency space, but I would say if somebody took all the cryptocurrency websites and their landing pages and did a tally of how many are doing this vertices / vector type animated background, I would think it's probably like 70 to 80% of them are using this. So I would probably stay away from that because it is a huge trend. I think that's going to go by the wayside. So it's not going to be a last. Well, that's what a trend is anyhow. All right. So interesting little animation you have there. We got some cool animation taking place here on this button. All right. All right. Portfolio projects. Getshowcase.com. I never heard about that. That's pretty cool. All right, that's cool. So this looks like it can be. Oh, okay. So this is, you're not more of a least when I'm gathering. You're not more of a designer, more of a coder. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of a portfolio for coders. Awesome. Skills. Yeah, well, here's the thing. You're not a designer, so I can't really give you a critique on the design stuff. So that's what I was intending on doing. Yeah, no problem, Anzi. Let's go on to the next one. Let me get rid of these real quick. What is happening? I'm accidentally like deleting some of these, but I'm getting them back. Don't worry. All right, this one won't load. Oh, that sucks. Well, maybe you'll fix it afterwards. Hopefully somebody doesn't give me like a nasty URL or something, like a goatse or something. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just focused on this other monitor for a second. All right, so we got a Firebase app hosted site. This is cool. Did you well, that's okay if you pulled this graphic. Let's tell me more. Hey, nothing's happening here, man. What's going on? All right. A lot of white space. I like that. That's cool. What's social pages? Well, I guess maybe you're just looking for, what is this? Nothing. Maybe perhaps this individual is looking for critique on just this landing page right here. Very simple, extremely simple, to the point at which I really don't have much to go off of. Sorry about that. So at least there's a lot of white space here. I can say that at least, but there's just not enough work for me to really. This is cool. I like this background though. If you actually did that yourself, that's really cool. Something tells me you probably didn't though. All right. Someone put videos in that list. Let's see here. Instagram. All right, cool. An Instagram result. This looks like more of a identity designer so far. All right, awesome. I'm just kind of trying to get a gather on what I'm seeing here. This is solid. Overall, very solid. One thing I don't like is probably this one. It seems like there's, you know, if this were to be scaled down a lot, the white space between this bolt and the rest of it would probably get a little bit pixelated if it's at a real small size. That's the only thing. I would just increase that thickness. Yeah, but in terms of the marks themselves, they all seem solid. From I mean, of course, I don't know what they're all about. I don't know if they're relevant or whatever. It would be impossible for me to know. But I do like what I see here, just in terms of design fundamentals as it pertains to identity design. Good stuff. Do another one here. Webcasada. Oh, this is really cool. All right, so this is a website development. Looks like almost like an agency of some sort. All right. Wow, very cool. I wonder what was used here. Tech stack. There's a tech stack website. I forget what that was to determine what framework people are using and all this the stuff behind there. Let's check out. I actually like this. Is quite interesting. I design wise, in terms of fundamentals and everything that's happening here, I actually like it. Is our works. There we go. Okay. So maybe I'll check out some of the work. Maybe just a couple. I don't want to spend too much time. Our freelance work. Well, we'll check this one out. All right. Pretty standard. So I get. Nothing happening here that's horrendously wrong. There's nothing that's extremely unique either. Check this one out. Web appalizer. One thing that's interesting is the freelance work seems to be quite a bit different than the actual design of this interface here. I'd say this is kind of a step up in terms of being original and such. All right, but yeah, overall, I would try to maybe create a more consistent aesthetic or style, because these are one style, and then this is another style. This whole site right here. Definitely an interesting, more unique approach. Let me see what the pricing page. Oh, okay. This is all just one scrolling sort of page. All right, cool stuff. Let's see here. Water bottle .gq. I'm scared to check that out. Maybe I should be opening on the other monitor. Calling me. All right, so I like this WB logo. Very cool, very simple. So this part I would kind of restructure that a little bit. It looks a little bit small, at least when it's the browser is real large on my desktop version here. Let's click on this stuff. Illustration, applications, philosophy. Yeah, so there's not much happening here in terms of content. Everything from can I go that high? No, my arm gets cut off. Everything from here on up is good, but the here on down is definitely lacking. You need actual interface structure here. I'm not sure if this is still in development or something like that. Oh yeah, we got more of those floating vertices thing here in the background too. I probably can't see it because they're real small. This is probably a better take on it though, because it's not so much in your face like the other ones. I like the logo, at least I do. Damn, we're getting more and more. All right, let's see what else is here. We'll do Sunny or Suni. Sorry, I'm not. Oh fuck, what is this? Oh, I just saw hackers in the URL, and I was like, oh crap, someone did something to me. No, it's just redirecting here. Front end developer, currently working on Infosys as a senior. I'm gonna look at the comments here in a little bit. That's why I'm looking off to the side here. Let's see here. Okay, projects. That's what I want to see. Train simulation market. I'm just trying to find if there's an area where there's an actual portfolio. That's a lot of certificates. Fortunately, it doesn't look like there's too much actual work that I can critique. All right. Well, unfortunately, I need a little bit more to go off that. I got a Behance URL here. Actually, oh my God, this is hard. I'm trying to copy this while everybody's editing it. Oh, I have to get a much better system for the next video. Guys, let me know if you've been watching from the beginning. If you like the you know what I did here. If I should do it again. All right, I like this one. All right, so user experience visual designer at Red Hat. All right, AD. So this is a lettermark logo based on the initials. I like that. Very simple. Good stuff. All right. Red Hat's awesome. Cool stuff. Let's check out the Dribbble here. Okay, it looks like it was the same sort of project that was occurring throughout this. I'll just click on one of them. All right, nothing too fancy happening here. I like this actual this site for sure. Very cool, very cool. I'm gonna take a look at some more here. I'm just going to take some of these at random. Okay, so we got an Illustrator here, vector stuff, awesome. Definitely different. We got Breaking Bad. Cool. I don't have very much experience with this type of work, but I like what I see, for sure. All right, someone wants the URL shows an online business that I recently got going, and I want you to focus the URL in an online business that it's hard to read because it keeps changing. Focus on the landing page structure and perhaps critique my persuasive abilities. Okay, I'll do that one. All righty. Welcome to ChatPat Academy. What? I can't even read. Your academic oasis. All right. Rather than just being a collection of resources that you go over once and forget about after your next test, it will be a place where I teach you how to go beyond expectations, redefine productivity, use your setbacks as advantages, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. I like this design right here. Not so much the hero section because it's kind of lacking. It's a little bit boring. And when it comes to your ad copy, which is something I really never touched on much on this channel. I never really did tutorials on that because that's more of a marketing thing, but still very important if you're handling this yourself as a designer. Your headline, you need to really grab people's attention and not describe features, but describe benefits. So that's the biggest thing I would probably change. So welcome to ChatPat Academy. I would get rid of that entirely. And then your academic oasis. What does that mean? Try to really emphasize in a few words, maybe one sentence at the most, and make it big as your headline. You know how how your service will benefit them in just one line. And then I would work in some simple graphics or something, some type of illustration or more of a layout element. I like this design down here though. I can see they're kind of like these are classes and perhaps books or something like that. So this down here is solid. I would work on this for sure up here. All right, how long have I been streaming? Okay, 47 minutes. All right. ArtStation. All right, this might be a digital painter, concept artist or something. Oh yeah, that's awesome. I actually have an ArtStation account myself, and I'm not as good. I do have this Wacom Cintiq 22 HD I bought like 4 years ago, and I just don't use it enough. I got into it. I wanted to be one of these digital painter people. I'll show it to you in a second, but just taking a look at some of these are pretty freaking awesome. Maybe you can teach me. We can do like a live stream or something where I become the student. Here's my stuff. Where's my stuff at? What was my name? I'm just gonna type ArtStation Gary Simon. Yeah, this is my stuff. It's actually not so bad. The very first thing I tried, I think, was a Mr. Robot. That's that dude. I did an illustration of him. This is all in Photoshop using my Wacom Cintiq pressure drawing sensitive monitor. I did like a little, I was at this place, and it kind of sucks, I see. I thought it was real good back then, but no. I did some other random stuff. I did Bernie Sanders with these tentacles. What's it called? Cthulhu or something. That was in 2016. I did this. This is for a cryptocurrency called IOTA that I was a big fan of. But yeah, I'm definitely not on that dude. What's his name? Tots level. This is something much better than that. Good stuff. I'm just kind of going at these random. I can see some people have been like pasting over and over and trying to get me to see it. What is going on? All right, somebody just copied and pasted this. Okay. I knew somebody would do something like that. I'm just gonna try to pick a few out that I haven't gone through. I did save a copy, but I think I went through all of them already. Yeah, because this is all I saved at that point in time. That's all there was, I think. Yeah, see, I already went on this one. Look at this. Oh, somebody just had to do it. They just had to do it. But that's my fault for not... I made the assumption that people would put their damn URLs in the comment section. Yeah, I'll have a better way with this next time. Maybe it will be the proper Google Docs URL. Let me try one more. Oops, what am I doing? Sorry about that. All right, here's one more. Very, very simple approach. A lot of white space. A little bit cluttered up here. We have 3 different blips of type happening. We have the name, we have kind of a logo, and then we have a quote, but it's styled in the same manner as this up here. So there's a lack of what you call visual hierarchy between these two, between these 3 things, or at least these 2 elements right here. So I would probably work on that. All right, icon design. Well, let's check it out. Very simple icons, very effective looking, so I don't have any problem there. Vector art and illustrations. I like this one. I kind of like these. Although I'm not necessarily, I don't really want to do critiques of actual illustration work. Maybe more like a UI design stuff. There we go. All right, so one thing I would do is make these larger, by the way, because when I need to scroll up to really see these, and now they're all pixelated and stuff. So I make those larger by default. I would also probably give a little bit more space between sign up and sign in. Maybe stack them on top of each other and style them maybe a little bit differently. Ah, Montserrat, you must have got that one from me because I'm always using that font. I'm looking for the main, like a main UI. There we go. Not too bad. I mean, you have the general gist of things, I would say. That's for sure. This is good. I like this design here for a landing page. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything too horrendous that's sticking out at me, fortunately. So not bad, not bad. All right, guys. Or woman too. I don't want people getting all pissed off. Let me expand this, and I'll just go through some of your comments now. Let me minimize everything. All right, somebody's really freaking out about checking out a portfolio. I'll do one more. That's it. No more after this. You can do it next week if I do this on Friday. Wait, it's not working. What's going on? Oh, there was a space. That's why. Sorry about that. All right. Okay. I would say kind of work on a logo. Too much is happening there. You have a certain amount of thickness or a weight that's applied to the first name, and then there's only slightly more in the second name. If you're going to create a difference between weight of the two, they need to be more dramatic and noticeable. This one's just barely noticeable, and it's just, it doesn't make for a good look. The O inside of Cortez is, someone could confuse that as a second O, so it'd be like Cortez. And plus there's some issues here in terms of things being too close together, like in this inner C and the O. I would definitely fix that. Work on this. You know, go to Google or Dribbble and just put in personal branding or identity logos like that, and get a feel for what some people are doing, some other people are doing. Home, about me, portfolio, blog, contact. I'm not a fan of the mid-gray text on the blue. There's not enough contrast between these elements, so I would make it white by default, as it is when you hover. All right. This, I like this part. This is cool, definitely. And this is cool too, in terms of the on-scroll animation. Nothing's really wrong here. Looks like the UI and the layout is pretty solid. This is solid as well. Very cool. Everything here seems pretty solid, at least with your landing page and everything. All right, so we have some web design work here. These type of designs kind of just remind me of, I mean, this might be older for you, I don't know. But these type of designs, with this type of layout, really just speak to me about, like, I don't know, the 2011s, 2012s. Like this is the type of design you saw around everywhere. In terms of, you know, you have your logo up here, you have your cutout here, you have this probably a slider right here with your slide controls. I think that's a little bit outdated. But this, your portfolio itself, I like it. There's just some issues. The logo, this thing up here, everything else is pretty good. All right, no more portfolio reviews. I have to get going soon, but I will check out some of the comments. And I'll just scroll up a little bit. Obviously, I can't get to all of them, unfortunately. Yeah, the portfolio, I'll figure that out for next week if I do this again. Just come back, have to ruin it for everyone. You almost that's my fault for not having this ready. What laptop should I use for programming? I'm not a laptop guy, unfortunately. I cannot answer your question. All right, guys. Unfortunately, I can't. I have to go, and yeah, in 15 minutes I have to be at my kids, at my mom's house, who's watching my kids, and I have to take them swimming and stuff. I want to make sure nobody sent a super chat over, because I need to recognize. Yeah, no, nobody did. Everybody hates me. That's okay though. So yeah. Yeah, let me know, like, in the comments maybe after. YouTube usually will publish this video, make it available on the channel like an hour or so after the live stream is ended. And then hopefully, you know, people can let me know if they enjoyed this in terms of the initial question and answer thing, which if you joined later, you didn't get to see. I showcased some of the question and answers that I received throughout the week, because I've been asking a question on every video, and I showcased some of those, and I gave my thoughts and my answers as well. So if you didn't see that, just go ahead and check it out on the channel later, and give me your thoughts if you guys like that. Although I guess the view count and, you know, the comments and all that stuff will be a good indicator if I should do this again or not. All right, see you guys later. And here's the awkward part where I say bye and then try to figure out how to stop the stream. All right.